Good morning. My name is Ian Kennedy. I am a member of the Calgary Unitarians men's group, and members of the group will be presenting the service this morning, sharing music and some reflections in honor of Father's Day. We also recognize that there are complexities to a day like Father's Day, and not all relationships are without pain. Also, though, today we are early for Father's Day, not late. It is still next Sunday, June 21st. Welcome to the home of the Calgary Unitarians, a place where we are united by values rather than belief in one set of creed or dogma. We explore the mysteries of life, pursue ethical living, live out our spirituality in this world by working for peace, justice, equality, democracy, and respect. We welcome you, your whole self, with all your truths, your doubts, your worries, and your hopes. You are welcome here no matter your color, ethnic background, sexual orientation, gender, if you are a person with a disability, young, old, or in between. No matter where you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here today. Your presence makes our circle complete. We gather today on the traditional lands of the Niitsitapi peoples in Treaty 7 territories of southern Alberta. We are in a relationship with the people of the Blackfoot Confederacy, the Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai, the Dene Blackfoot, Tsuut'ina, and the three bands of the Stoney Nakoda First Nations, the Bearspaw, Chiniki, and Goodstoney. The city of Calgary, or Mohkinstsis, is also home to the Métis Nation, Districts 5 and 6. As a congregation and as individuals, we are endeavoring to deepen our relationship with Indigenous groups. We actively work toward reconciliation. The men's group chorus, Men in Black Pants, will sing The Marvelous Toy by Tom Paxton. When
That's Robert's spirit entering the building. I'm filling in for Robert this morning. We're going to light the chalice today with words from Claudine Oliva, slightly modified for Father's Day. We light this chalice for fathers and fathering, to celebrate those who have taken on the task of nurturing a young one, a baby, a child, or youth into adulthood, to celebrate those who have nourished the light of truth and compassion in growing minds and hearts, to celebrate those who have committed time, money, energy to the growth of others in this world, and to recognize that fatherhood and father relationships are often complicated and difficult, as well as sometimes happy. We light this chalice to celebrate and hold dear this flame of love.
I'm Lucas, and this is Ellie, and I just wanted to say thank you to the men's group for asking me to do the Time for All Ages story today. The story, it's a fantastic story called Eli and the Uncles by Jahan Madani. I don't have a joke, sorry. I ironically a dad without a dad joke. There it is. For Eli, the answer to the question, how did our fathers or other father figures influence us? It reminds us that we are shaped not just by one father, but by every man who takes the time to love us. It is a book that reflects to me, Bell Hook's own ideas that in patriarchal culture, males are not allowed simply to be who they are and to glory in their unique identity. Their value is always determined by what they do, and in an anti-patriarchal culture, males do not have to prove their value and worth. They would know from birth that simply being gives them value, the right to be cherished and loved. Eli and the Uncles by Jahan Madani. Every summer, Mom packs up Eli and drops him off to spend a day with his uncles. Eli has 8 uncles. That's a lot of uncles. Each uncle is very big and very tall, and somehow bigger and taller than the very big and very tall one that came before him. And each of Eli's 8 uncles has his own especially elegant beard. There's Uncle Mahmoud, who tells the best stories, and Uncle Salim, who cooks all of Eli's favorite foods. Then there's Uncle Hanif, who sings very beautifully to Eli, at least. The other uncles block their ears at the sound. There's Uncle Aman, who is a very talented dancer, and Uncle Riz, who tells the funniest jokes Eli has ever heard. Uncle Farouk and Uncle Aziz love to argue with each other and everyone else. And finally, there is Uncle Nuru, who is a world champion nap taker. When all the storytelling and cooking and singing and dancing and napping are done, Eli and the uncles all sit down to eat dinner together. 8 uncles and 1 Eli at one big table. When dinner's done and the dishes are washed and put away, there's a knock on the door. Mom's here. It's time for Eli to say goodnight and goodbye to the uncles. First, he says goodnight to Uncle Mahmoud, whose beard is short and nicely groomed. Eli gives Uncle Mahmoud a kiss on his cheek. It's a little slippery with beard oil. Uncle Mahmoud passes Eli to Uncle Salim, and Eli says goodnight to Uncle Salim, whose beard is so long and curly that Eli gets a little lost in it. Uncle Salim passes Eli to Uncle Hanif. Eli says goodnight to Uncle Hanif, whose beard is like a waterfall of hair. When Uncle Hanif gives Eli a kiss for a second, Eli is more beard than boy. And Eli says goodnight to Uncle Aman, who has a rough beard that scratches. Eli gives him a quick kiss and giggles. That beard tickles. Uncle Aman passes Eli to Uncle Riz. Eli says goodnight to Uncle Riz, whose beard is very wiry and tightly coiled. Like little springs, Eli gives Uncle Riz's springy beard a kiss, and he feels like he bounces just a little. Uncle Riz passes Eli to Uncle Farouk, and Eli says goodnight to Uncle Farouk, whose puffy beard is like a big pillow, or maybe a cloud. Eli has never touched a cloud, but thinks it might feel soft. Eli yawns and rubs his eyes and gives Uncle Farouk a kiss on his cheek. Uncle Farouk passes Eli to Uncle Aziz, and Eli says good night to Uncle Aziz, whose beard is woolly and soft and makes Eli think of fluffy sheep. Eli gives Uncle Aziz a sleepy good night kiss. Uncle Aziz passes Eli to Uncle Nuru, and Eli says good night to Uncle Nuru, whose beard is thick and bristly and feels just like a bear's furry beard. Eli has never gotten close enough to a bear to ask if he can touch its fur, and probably never will, but is pretty sure it would feel thick and bristly. He gives Uncle Nuru's bear fur a kiss. Good night. Good night, Eli. In the car on the ride home, Eli sleeps and dreams of 8 uncles and 8 especially elegant beards. Good night, uncles. And now I invite you to join in singing together for any children and youth that wish to join Rachel, our Director of Religious Education, as they head downstairs for their Sunday program.
Our caring candles this morning. We're going to start with the joyful one, the candle for joys. As long-term member here, now moved to the United States, Mary Jane Hussey, who's celebrating her 90th birthday this month. Yeah, yay. There'll be a birthday card for her in Wickenden, and so everyone is welcome to sign that. Our candles of sorrows. Today we're going to remember Bob Spinney, who has passed away. He is also a long-time member. He was very active in both this church and in leadership in denominational affairs, and an inspiration to a lot of people, including Mariana Louise, who told me some stories about Bob. His funeral, his memorial service, will be on Friday, June 19th at McKinnis and Holloway, Fish Creek, 14441 Bannister Road Southeast at 2:30 p.m. and a reception will follow that. There'll also be a card to sign there for his family. And for the global concern this week, we're going to encourage ourselves in the way some fathers encourage their families in times of doom and gloom, to put our energy towards those who protest against nastiness. In Belfast this week, there was an anti-racism rally of thousands of people, and we send our spirit to them and to everyone else who's doing their best to make this world a good and kind place.
Podium is getting ready for Halloween. Good morning. I'm Christopher Feets. If you use the pronouns he, him, his, then I'm quite comfortable with those. And I am also a member of the men's group here at Calgary Unitarians that meets every second Tuesday. We will now have our time of meditation. I will share some words by Mike Johnson, and that will be followed by 2 minutes of silence. And Matthew will bring us out of the silence playing Loosen, Loosen. Each of us has gifts and wounds from those who fathered us. This is inevitable. Even the best of fathers in the world disappoint their children sometimes. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to grow up. All of us, as adults, can learn to parent ourselves and each other, to share the gifts we received from our fathers, and to heal from the wounds of our childhood. We can adopt father figures who help us learn what we didn't learn from our own parents. Father figures are those who believe in us, who treat us like we're special. It might be as simple as a neighbor who teaches us how to wash and wax the car. It might be an art teacher who encourages us to draw or paint, or a friend who listens to our strengths and confusion. Part of growing up is realizing that our fathers are human beings with gifts and failings. Part of growing up is letting go of needing our fathers to be better than we were, or rather, than they were. This is easier to do if we realize that we can offer and receive fathering from others. When we can do this, we are also better able to honor the gifts and forgive the wounds.
Good morning. My name is Alberto, and I'm very happy to be here. And I'm the first reading a reflection. So I name my reflection A Legacy Crossing Borders. As I briefly reflect on the father I have become, I am reminded that my learnings go beyond one man, one culture, and one set of personal circumstances. As a father, I was shaped by three men, each with different personality, culture, what life dealt, and an outlook in life. Rogelio, my Mexican and biological father. Terry, my American former father-in-law. Paul, my Canadian father-in-law. Each one left something behind me, their fingerprints on the way I carry myself as a father, how I interact, how I love, and how I care for my family. Rogelio, dad, papa, with traditional values and a timeless elegance on how he conducted and carried himself. He was intelligent, disciplined, and deeply devoted to his family. A strong character shaped by harder times growing up, including the stereotypical turn-of-century patriarchal iron rule. In his teens, living for good a home where many siblings shared measured parental affection. Surprisingly, that was very comfortable showing affection, and I still wonder about it today. He carried family responsibility with seriousness and pride every single day. He knew well what his priorities were. Providing for his children and wife came first, ensuring basic needs were always covered, and splurging from time to time. He taught me love and care is also shown through sacrifice, consistency, and responsibility. Looking back now, I understand that the greatest lessons he gave me was this: a father shows love by being dependable. As a father today, I often hear his voice in my mind, reminding me that my family depends on me, and that responsibility is something to embrace. Terry is practical, independent, light-hearted, and full of life. A welcoming and friendly demeanor that draws people in. Rattled by being deployed as a young man to unknown territory far from home into the front line of war, he leaves the past behind and lives with optimism and cheer. He loves entertaining gullible children with tricks, jokes, and moments of surprise. He would get a big laugh, and then all present would join him with healthy laughs. Terry never seems to be crushed by life, although he faces challenges directly and with practicality. He does not let worry steal his joy. What I learned from Terry is that fathers do not always need to be serious to be strong. I learned how important it is to laugh and not to take life too seriously. I learned that children will remember fondly the joy of the moment when their father played and laughed with them. How a father can make his children feel safe and smile at life no matter what the circumstances. Then there was Paul. Paul grew up in the Canadian prairies as the next generation of the legendary Western migration, where life was not easy. In a remote homestead, every family member mattered. Everyone had work to do. Everyone contributed. Hardship created resilience, resourcefulness, making do over and over of what you had. But it also created closeness. What I admired most about Paul was not only his work ethic, but his gentleness. He was thoughtful, contemplative, and an incredibly good listener. When he spoke, you knew his words came from a place of reflection and care. He did not rush to judgment. He listened first. He also found beauty and wonder in the simple things in life, which I do believe also molded his incredible talent as an artist. Despite the challenges in prairie life, his family created joy together. They played music, they sang songs, they shared stories, and built community with neighbors. There was warmth in the way they lived. Paul showed me that being a father is not only about providing materially, but about demonstrated courage and bringing laughter. It is also nurturing the spirit in your home. It is about treating your children with dignity and respect. It is about helping them become independent, caring adults while always reminding them that they are loved. From him, I learned tenderness, I learned patience, I learned that children thrive when they feel heard. When I look at these three men together, I realized that each one gifted me a different piece of fatherhood. From Rogelio, I learned responsibility and how to carry myself with pride and confidence. From Terry, I learned joy, courage, and practicality. From Paul, I learned compassion, care, and respect for all, both humans and nature alike. None of them were perfect men, perfect fathers, but together they helped me shape the person that I am today. Now, the one thing I didn't learn or was influenced by them was who to cheer for in these next weeks. Is it Canada, US, or Mexico?
Everybody else. I'm as tall as everybody else now. These words are Robert's words. This is his reflection on fatherhood. He's ill today, so he couldn't come. What makes a good father? I would like to tell you a story about fatherhood as I have experienced it in my life. He says it's a personal story and asked for forgiveness if he got choked up. I think we'll be spared that. Who knows? The story begins with a male Russian laborer grandfather, possibly Jewish, fleeing the World War I turmoil in Europe, changing his faith to Roman Catholic, coming to Canada, and ending up in Winnipeg, Manitoba. He met and fell in love with a Ukrainian immigrant woman, my grandmother, and they started a family. My father was the firstborn of 12 children, 4 boys, 8 girls. Grandfather found work as a laborer at many jobs. The most notable was joining a crew of workers digging the basement of the Winnipeg Hudson's Bay store with hand shovels and wheelbarrows in the early 1900s. Later, he and his brother tried their hand as farmers for several years, but were ultimately unsuccessful. After fathering 12 children, my grandfather abandoned his family to live the rest of his life in a bottle. For the last few years of his life, he tended to the flower gardens at a Winnipeg train station and played the ponies at the Assiniboia Downs racetrack. He passed away alone in a flophouse along Winnipeg's North Main Street, distant from a loving family. And that's the sad part of the story. Consequently, as the oldest child, my father left school after grade 8 to become the default father and breadwinner to his siblings. As years went by, especially with my aunts, my father reached godfather status. As a young adult, he shoveled coal at the rail yard, loved boxing as a sport, and became a bouncer at a hotel beer parlor. He drove a streetcar, and after that, he started a house building business with his brothers. During World War II, he was the foreman of a crew building aircraft at the McDonald Brothers Aircraft Company. He married a railroad's daughter, and with an infant son, they left Winnipeg to start a new life and business in Portage la Prairie, Manitoba. I came along next, followed by a younger sister. 60 miles from Winnipeg, they kept up their strong family connections with their brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews. That's my father and mother's abbreviated story. Facing all that hardship with the emptiness of an alcoholic, absent father, my father could have chosen many different paths to fatherhood. I believe he chose to follow the example of his strong mother, my grandmother, who was dedicated to her children. Throughout my upbringing, my father became a teacher to me. Leading by example, he taught me many things, the things that, when added up, make a good father. First and foremost, he taught me dedication to the well-being of family, mother, brothers, sisters, wife, and children. He taught me respect for girls and women. Never hit a girl, woman, or child for any reason. As a male, nature made you stronger. Control yourself. As a boxer by sport, violence never solves problems. It only creates more problems. Be a good provider. Work hard to make a good living for your family. Having lived off the land through a world depression, his advice was avoid eating rabbits and moose meat and keep the fridge full of good food. Education is essential to whatever you do. It is a key to financial well-being. I learned early as a child, if you want to play baseball and hockey, bring home a good report card. As a sidebar, all of his siblings graduated from high school. As an independent businessman and entrepreneur, he demonstrated how rewarding it can be to provide a valued service to customers. I followed this example as well. Enjoy alcohol. Making homemade beer and pickled herring in the basement is an excellent hobby. But be careful with alcohol. It can destroy your family and ruin your life. Don't gamble beyond the Irish sweepstakes. You work too hard for your money to surrender it to someone else. Don't lie or cheat. Honesty is the only way to live your life. Consider whether something is right or wrong. Don't do what you feel is wrong. It just isn't worth doing. Never give up trying for what you want. Have the self-confidence to know that you can have anything you want in life if you're determined to have it. But at the same time, realize you can't have everything. Be grateful for what you and your family achieve. Enjoy sports, celebrate your personal achievements and victories. Accept defeat with grace. As a participant or as a fan, you cannot win every time. Stand up for yourself, but Don't use violence to solve your problems. Use your head to solve problems, not your fists. Yes, I became a father when my first wife and I had children, 2 children, within 2 years. Did I follow his example always? Not always. But I was fortunate to have good role models. My mother provided support to my father and taught me additional life lessons, but that's another story. My closing comment, what's love got to do with it? Everything. Thank you.
Please join in singing hymn number 191 in the Gray Hymnal, Now I Recall My Childhood. Now I recall my childhood when the sun burst to my bedside with a day's surprise. Faith in the marvelous bloomed anew each dawn. Flowers bursting fresh within my heart each day. Then looking on the world with simple joy, on insects, birds, and beasts, and common weeds, the grass and clouds had fullest wealth of all. My mother's voice gave meaning to the stars. Now when I turn to think of coming death, I find life's song in star songs of the night, in rise of curtains and new morning light, in life reborn in fresh surprise of love.
Good morning. My name is Alex Schumacher, and I'm here to tell you something of what I learned from my father. But before I do that, I must tell you about who he was and what he was like. Rudolf, otherwise known as Rudy Schumacher, was the entrepreneurial son of a German merchant and a Canadian nurse. Multilingual, he spoke English like a high-class Brit, German like a high-class German, Schweizerdeutsch like a high-class Schweizer, and Swahili to boot. He was also a remarkable mechanical and architectural, mechanical and architectural design skills. Born in 1912 in the Dominican Republic, he was brought up there, then in Lucerne, excuse me, in Switzerland, and after his mother died, in Bremen in Germany. At the age of 20, in 1932, he was sent to Tanzania, then Tanganyika, on an apprenticeship in the coffee business and to avoid his confrontations with the Nazis, which were becoming a force in Germany at the time. The apprenticeship failed, but he soon found work serving mining claims there and in Uganda. Eventually, he became the shareholder, a shareholder, and manager of a gold mine in Uganda's then remote Ituri forest. home of the Mbuti people, otherwise known as Pygmies, and of the mountain gorillas. The colonial government also assigned him the role of honorary gorilla warden, which, for some reason or other, eventually led to his meeting and marrying my mother. But that's another story. At the outbreak of the war in 1939, he was arrested and interned as a German speaker. And his assets were all confiscated. Released 2 years later, without apology, he and my mother moved to Kenya. And over the next 20 years, he was involved in a number of jobs. Lumbering, lost my place. Lumbering, brick and tile making, a garage, farming, a transportation company, and an architectural design and construction enterprise. But in 1963, in advance of Kenya's independence, his and my mother's properties were again expropriated. Fortunately, after a brief time of uncertainty, the University of Wyoming then employed him to set up an agricultural research station near Mogadishu in Somalia. But this came to an abrupt end in 1969 after a Russian-inspired coup obliged him and his colleagues to leave. He lived out the remainder of his life in Cyprus, then Spain, and eventually England, frustrated by unemployment, deeply distressed by the death of my oldest sister, and dogged by health issues brought on, I believe, by stress, heavy smoking, and to some extent by alcohol. What did I learn from this man? Very little, directly, despite his mechanical, architectural, and linguistic skills. He left scholastics to the teachers at the boarding schools I and my sisters were shipped off to at the ages of 6 to 19, first in Kenya and then in England. He thus had limited opportunities to directly instruct me, even if he had the desire to do so, which I somehow doubt. His major contribution to my academic knowledge was thus mainly through his struggles, along with my mother's, to pay for this very privileged schooling. When given the opportunities, though, he taught me to do things he loved, such as fly fishing, hunting, tennis, and bridge. Unfortunately, the only one of these efforts which continues is my enthusiasm for fly fishing. It's what I learned from him passively and by example that I most value. And important amongst these is human relationships and how to respect and gain the trust of others, irrespective of cultural or social backgrounds, and to recognize one's interdependence with them. Over his years in Africa, he developed many strong bonds with people of other ethnic communities, which was far from the norm amongst the settler community. He was also a person of strong work ethics and a willingness to tackle any challenge. Luckily, I've inherited some of that from him. I've also benefited by learning from his mistakes, particularly in respect of self-care. I don't smoke, I drink much less than he did, and I have been able to avoid some of the excessive stress he faced. I've never faced the cycle of disappointments he encountered, and am grateful to have reached the age of 82 and still be healthy. He died 11 years younger than I am now, and without the positive daily opportunities to which he contributed so greatly and for which I have benefited. I am profoundly grateful for the learning he provided and what I learned directly from him. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Jim Washbrook, member of the men's group. One of the privileges of our free church tradition is to provide all of the financial support for our many ministries from among ourselves. Generosity, therefore, is one of the spiritual values we recognize as central to our personal and institutional well-being. Our For Others recipient this month is Fear is Not Love. This organization works to create communities free from domestic violence and abuse. They support individuals and families by providing a 24-hour helpline and counseling and shelter and education programs. Their goal is to support individuals and families in building lives rooted in safety, dignity, and respect. If you would like your gift to support For Others, note this on the donation envelope or your e-transfer message. If you're visiting today, your presence is a gift, and we invite you to let the basket pass by. Once the basket is passed, you are welcome to come forward and light a candle on the side sconces or drop a pebble in the water bowl in honor of a joy, sorrow, or intention that you carry in your heart. The offering will now be greatly received.
Good morning. My name is Rob Weaver, and I've been involved with the Calgary Unitarian Men's Group since it was formed just a little over 2 years ago, and it's been a big part of my life since then. Father's Day is a day in which we honor gratitude and in which we honor and offer gratitude for our fathers in whatever form or fashion they come into our lives. Biological fathers, stepfathers, adoptive and foster fathers, grandfathers, spiritual fathers, and all of the uncles, brothers, and friends who, whether they know it or not, have helped to fill the role of father in someone's life. Let us remember today and always the impact that these people have on us as individuals and as a community. And let us also remember that this relationship is not one-sided, and that we as a community are called to support and empower the fathers of this world, no matter how they came into their roles, and regardless of their relative successes and failures. Let us raise up their triumphs, and let us have the grace to forgive them their all too human failures. Let us love our fathers, and let us love each other. Please join us in singing All My Life's a Circle. The words will appear on the screen.
We're going to extinguish our chalice now. To the words of Tracy Brenneman, Among the Generations. The warmth of this community flows among the generations, where all are learners and all are teachers. May the love that connects us here bless the lives of everyone we meet as we carry it into the world. Put your hands up and catch the flame as Thomas sends it your way. We'll extinguish the other flames now, and we just have a few announcements. Next Sunday, June 21st, is that next Sunday? Yes. Turning toward a world worth loving. There's going to be a short information session at 12 o'clock in room 4 right now on the Unitarian camp in Kootenay Lake, right now being right after we leave. Let's see what else. Tony Turner concert on Saturday, the 20th, and there's a poster about that out in Wickenden, so please have a look at that. Get your tickets. Tony Turner, I believe, has a special connection with us. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Reverend Samaya can tell you more about that. Let's see. We want to thank everybody who made this service possible. You'll see in your order of service, it takes a lot of people, not least of which, flowers for our altar today from Mary Anna Louise's garden. We're going to sit quietly and listen to the postlude if we would like. Otherwise, we're going to leave very carefully and quietly. But for those of us who stay and listen to the postlude, after the service is going to be dance church. So if people, anyone who can stay behind and just move the chairs over to the side, nowhere near these candles. So start at those doors and go backwards. Is that what that hand was about? Good, thank you. I think that's it. Blackfoot Confederacy, if you want to go see me. Blackfoot Confederacy powwow? Information session at Workland Center. Information session at Workland Center. So Reverend Samaya has information about that, the Blackfoot Confederacy. Also, we're collecting, no. Okay. That's it. Thank you so much to the men's group for letting me fill in for Robert today.